In the 1920s, researchers at institutions across Europe and America extracted blood directly from the jugular veins of orphaned infants, withheld essential nutrients from their diets, and documented the resulting deficiency diseases in real time, all in the name of understanding vitamins. This is the story of Harriette Chick, Alfred Hess, and the infants who became test subjects for nutritional science. Welcome back to the laboratory, my curious test subjects. Today we are diving into an era when the question was not whether you should experiment on vulnerable children to understand nutrition. The question was how many children you needed and which nutrients to take away. Let me show you what I found. Our story begins in 1922, in post-World War I Vienna, where malnutrition was rampant and children were developing a bone disease called rickets at alarming rates. Rickets caused skeletal deformities, stunted growth, and a medical mystery. Nobody could agree on what caused it. Some researchers thought it was poor hygiene. Others suspected a nutritional deficiency. And then there was Harriette Chick, a British scientist who had previously let plague-carrying fleas bite her to prove they could transmit disease to humans, because apparently self-experimentation was her warm-up act. Chick led a team from the Lister Institute to Vienna to figure out what actually cured rickets. So how do you figure out what cures a disease when nobody agrees on what causes it? You find a controlled population you can experiment on. Chick worked with the University Kinderklinik, a hospital housing about 100 infants. She established research units for 60 of them. Think of it like a clinical trial, except the subjects were orphaned infants who could not exactly opt out. In research ethics terms, that means the scientists had complete control over every single thing those children ate, when they ate it, and what they were exposed to. Chick divided the infants with rickets into groups. Group 1, placed in direct sunlight. Group 2, exposed to mercury-vapor quartz lamps. Group 3, fed cod liver oil. Then she watched what happened. Sunlight group, bones improved. Lamp group, bones improved. Cod liver oil group, also improved. Spoiler, they all worked. Every single treatment cured rickets, proving they all delivered the same mysterious factor, later identified as vitamin D. Now let us cross the Atlantic to New York, where Alfred Hess, an American pediatrician, was conducting his own nutritional experiments at the Hebrew Home for Infants. Hess was interested in scurvy, a disease caused by vitamin C deficiency that makes you lethargic, gives you gum disease, and causes your blood vessels to leak. The orphanage had been giving infants orange juice to prevent scurvy, but Hess had a hypothesis. What if they'd pasteurized milk at a lower temperature, 145 degrees instead of 160? Maybe the milk would retain enough vitamin C and they could skip the juice entirely. So they tested it. They withheld orange juice from the infants and gave them the new pasteurized milk instead. The hypothesis was wrong. The infants developed scurvy. Hess was particularly interested in the petechiae, tiny bleeding spots under the skin. He needed to test their blood to see if it was a coagulation problem. To get enough blood for testing, he inserted needles directly into the jugular veins of the infants' necks. In research ethics terms, that means he punctured the major vein on the side of a baby's throat to draw blood samples. Completely ethical, obviously. Later, Hess tested capillary strength by wrapping blood pressure cuffs around the infants' arms, inflating them, until venous blood could not return, and watching the petechiae form as their capillaries leaked. Basically giving them a blood pressure cuff until their capillaries leaked on purpose. Now you might be wondering, did anyone think this was a problem? Hess was criticized for using orphans, but his peers exonerated him. The infants who developed scurvy were eventually treated. Science marched on. And that is how we learned that sunlight, cod liver oil and orange juice prevent bone deformities and bleeding disorders in children. All it took was complete control over the diets of institutionalized infants, a few jugular vein punches, and a scientific community willing to call it progress. In research ethics terms, that means we built the foundations of modern nutritional science on the bodies of children who had no choice and no voice. The work of Chick and Hess clarified the nature of vitamin deficiencies, but the cost was paid by the most vulnerable. If this story made you question the price of medical progress, hit that subscribe button, my curious test subjects. There is plenty more where this came from.